Good afternoon and welcome. Glad to see you here today. So, just a little technical note, little behind the scenes. You notice here that I am amongst a grape vineyard. So, my backgrounds up until now have been the Big Sur and Monterey, California area. But now that we're in Sonoma, I thought I should change my background. So you're going to be seeing Sonoma backgrounds from here until, I don't know, next fall when we get a new operating system. So that's why we're into the grapes. Well, we're also into iOS 17.4 on GoFor Lunch for March the 12th, 2024. Brought to you by GoFor Technology, and I am Roger Harmon, your happy host, here to make your technology work for you. Well, we're doing something a little different this week. Instead of celebrating today's holiday, we're giving you a heads up for Thursday, March 14th, which is Pi Day. Now, pi, as you may know, pi, represented by this symbol, is the ratio between the circumference and the diameter of a circle. And this here in the back of the pi circle, or pi symbol, is a luscious cherry pie. So two things are celebrated on Pi Day: mathematical equations and delicious pies. And also, Albert Einstein was born on March 14th. So I'm giving you this 2-day heads up so you can prepare to celebrate Pi Day by taking advantage of the discounts that many businesses offer, both local and national, on pies this Thursday. My go-to source for good pies is Sydney's Sweet Shop. They make the best homemade pies. They have 9-inch pies, 5-inch pies. I like to get a couple of different 5-inch pies so I can have different flavors. And they have 3-inch pies. And their special for Pi Day is their new whoopie pie, which is right here in the upper right-hand corner. And those are going to be priced at $3.14. Yeah, 3 for the month of March, 14 for the 14th of March for Pi Day. So they're located at Tanque Verde and Bear Canyon. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4. And if you want to make sure you have the kind of pie that you want on Pi Day, you should order today. So you can either go to their website, which is sydneysweetshop.com, and order there, or you can call them at the number on your screen and order your pie for pickup, or you can have it delivered on Thursday. So let's all celebrate Pi Day with delicious pies. So back to 17.4. So I thought I'd give you a little heads up on what the installation process is like. So when I installed it on my iPhone 13 Pro Max, it took 28 minutes to download it, 15 minutes to prepare it, 1 minute to verify it, then it restarted for 4 minutes. Then the Apple logo appeared with a progress bar for 3 minutes, and then that process repeated itself. It restarted again for 3 minutes, so almost an hour to do that install. So keep that in mind when you go ahead and install that. Welcome, Chris and Stanley. So I think part of the reason maybe it took as long as it did because there was 40, count them, 40 security patches. And it covered all sorts of parts of the operating system, such as accessibility, Bluetooth, image processing, photos, Safari, and the assistant, whose name I shall not say, so it won't trigger your voice-activated devices. So a little background here. The reason maybe we have that many security patches is because Apple has a security bounty rewards program, which is I think, very generous. So you can see here from that page in their website for the security bounty rewards, we have rewards from $5,000 to $2 million. So they're real serious about encouraging software security researchers to report the bugs that they find and the security issues. And they also, when they note the security issue that's being patched, they give credit to those companies or individuals that have found them. So I thought that was very nice of them to give those people credit and, of course, pay them a significant amount of money to keep us all safe. Notes is an area where there has been improvements in 17.4. So it used to be that you had a limit of 11 pages that you could scan in Notes. But now you can scan more than 11 pages. Now, how many more? I haven't found that number. I'm guessing it might be limited by the storage capacity of your phone. So let's review how that works on Notes. So as we go to our phone and we scroll down in between our icons to get to the search, and we're going to pretend like we typed in NO. That's already there because I've been using it. So here we have Notes, and let me back out of this. So normally you would come up to a new note, then you would touch the camera icon here at the bottom, and then you would have some choices. You can choose a photo that's in your library. You can scan a document, which is what we're talking about, more than 11. You can take a photo or a video right then, or you can scan text. So that's how you do the scan documents in Notes, which is real handy if you don't have a scanner or if you're out and about and you want to scan a receipt or something else that you're seeing. So that's how that works. Emojis. Does everybody love emojis? They're such fun little creatures. We have new ones. So we have a mushroom, a phoenix, a lime, a broken chain. Shaking heads are now available, and there's also 18 more body and people emojis that are facing opposite directions now. So it used to be they just faced one direction. Now you can face them the opposite direction, or you can have them looking at each other, whatever you want to do with that. So here's some images of the phoenix, the mushroom, the lime, the shaking head up and down, the broken chain, and the shaking head right and left. So those are some of the new emojis. So let's look at another interesting feature. It's called the City Digital Clock. And the way you install that is you swipe from left to right on your iPhone screen. Then you scroll to the bottom and tap on Edit. Then you tap the plus symbol in the upper left. And then you tap the City Digital widget. And then you click on Add Widget at the bottom. Then you drag and drop the widget to a screen. Now, it doesn't have to stay on that widget screen. You can drag it to the right and put it on your home screen, or even further to the right and put it on the second or third screen. So it can go on any screen that you like. So what you do after you get it installed is you hit a long press on the icon, then you select Press Edit Widget. Then you can search for a city that you want to have the time, and then you just tap outside the square to finish the process. So let's see how that works. So we're going to swipe from left to right, and actually I have a widget here, so we're just going to get rid of that one. So you can get rid of widgets by holding it down. If you tap on the widget, of course, you go to your world clock. So we're going to go over here. Okay, so if we hold it down, we're going to remove this widget, and so we can show you the whole process. Okay, so here we are. We're going to scan down to the bottom, or swipe I should say. So we go down here to edit, and I guess I didn't hit the right one here. Edit, there we go. So you can see they're shimmering. So then we go up to the top left and hit the plus sign. Well, it timed out, so I got to be quicker here. Plus sign. Okay, so then here's our city digital clock. We tap on that, and you can see by the dots here at the bottom that there are some choices. So you want to be careful and only get the one that has the city abbreviation in here. In this case, it's CUP for Cupertino, because if you chose this one here without the city abbreviation, then you couldn't change the city. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different styles here. You can do the square with the 4 or the rectangle with the 4 for world time. But we want to go back here to the digital with the city, and then we're going to tap add widget at the bottom. Okay, there it is. Since it's still shimmering, we could move it around, put it wherever we want. We could move it over here to home page. That's my second page. Here's my first page, but I want it back here. So then to stop it from shimmering, we hit done. And now we can do a long press on it, and we can edit the widget. No, I missed it here. I'm trying to do two things at once. So we do a long press, then we edit widget, and then we tap on the city that's appearing. Then we get a search box here at the top, and we would just type in, say we want New York, just type in new, and there's New York. So now we have New York. So now to end the process, we just tap outside this square, and there it is, and it's added the time difference to it. So now that we're in daylight savings time, New York Eastern Standard Time is 3 hours ahead of Mountain Standard Time. So that is how you add the city digital clock. So I think the most exciting update in iOS 17.4 is transcripts. So transcripts are being added to new podcasts since last week, and they will be added to older podcasts later. So there are literally millions of podcasts out there, so Apple is going to be going back in time and adding transcripts to the older ones. But for now, you will know at least the new ones that have come out in the last week or so will have transcripts. So transcripts allow you to search for words inside the transcript. So if you are listening to a podcast and you want more, you want to reread or re-listen to a certain section that has a keyword that you can search, you can do that. So you can also tap on website links inside the transcript and go directly to that on the web. And as you scroll up and down, the audio will follow you. So if you are listening to a podcast and you scroll down to the, say you're listening to the beginning and you want to get rid of maybe the introductory part, which is, you know, probably the same each week, you could just scroll down in the transcript and tap it, and it will move the audio down to that point. So let's see how that works. Let me reset my phone here. Okay, so we're going to scroll down in the center and we're going to type in P-O, and there's podcasts, purple. So here we are. Let's get to the beginning here. I'm in the middle. So this is what you're going to see in the Apple Podcasts app. You see you have different podcasts here. And so let's find one. Okay, where did it go? Here we go, Mac Voices. So you just tap on it. And then I'm going to just play it for a few seconds and then I'll stop it so you can hear me. So you should hear the podcast starting now.
Contrived Apple Vision Pro controversies, and iPhone takes the top 7 spots.
Okay, so we stopped that. Now to get to the transcript, there's two ways to do it. So you can either hit the little 3 dots here in the upper right hand corner, and you can go to View Transcript, and you see the little icon next to that, kind of a little text bubble. So that's one way. The other way is you can tap here on the banner down at the bottom, and then you see that same little icon here in the lower left. Now it's grayed out because it's already in the podcast. So now when I hit play again, the text that is being spoken will be highlighted in the transcript.
This is Mac Voices. Well, let's talk about Apple Vision Pro. There were 2 things that came up this past week.
I don't know why people take new technology and do stress tests on it like that. And please don't plug it in. Put the thing.
Okay, so as you saw there, as I scrolled through the transcript, wherever I clicked with my stylus, then the audio would follow, and it would highlight that part of the transcript. So the other feature here is search. So when I
put the cover on it, let it heat up, and then having it crack at the one stress line or the major stress line in it, I just don't understand it. But why people test it to that extreme? It's just simple, proper care of the thing, and you won't see these kind of stress factors. Eric, what's your thoughts?
Okay, so the reason I was having a little problem there was because I hadn't gotten out of the search mode. But so here's a little idiosyncrasy, I guess you could call it. So you
Today's
can see
edition
here,
of Mac Voices is supported by Back.
So I have a website here, backblaze.com/macvoices, but I can't so there's kind of like 2 versions of the transcript. So we're in the second version here where you have the ability to move around in the text and have the audio follow. But when we go back to the episode, or actually I think we can view it here. So here is the first kind of transcript that comes up automatically. So in this one, the web link is highlighted, and if I tap on it, it goes to that web link. But it does not work in the second version of the transcript where you have the capability of moving around in the text. So that is kind of a little, I'm not sure they're going to change that, but that's the way that works. So if you want to go to a link, you have to be back here in this first version. And again, if we want to get to the second version, we tap on the banner and we're there. So I hope that is a good explanation. If you have any questions about that, we can go over anything specific at the end. So Shazam is an app that Apple bought, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and they have added the ability to identify classical music. And I'm sure that wasn't easy. So for you classical music fans out there, you can now use it to identify a piece of classical music that is playing in the proximity of your iPhone when you open up the Shazam app, which is built in. Just for curiosity's sake, how many people are subscribers to Apple Music? I don't usually talk too much about Apple Music because I don't think that many people here are subscribers, but I may be wrong. Let me know. So stolen device protection has been tweaked. So as you may recall from our previous presentation, the stolen device protection is to prevent someone from watching you in a public place, enter your passcode, and then swipe your phone and be able to get to all of your financial data and other things that you don't want the thief to know about. So the way it works is you has a 1 hour security delay that requires your Face ID or your Touch ID to open the phone if you're not in a known location such as your home or your work. So what they have now added is a switch that you can make that feature always, no matter where the phone is. So if it's at home, it'll also do it. So that could be a situation where you have somebody at the house that you don't want snooping on your phone, or at the office. So just be aware that that feature is available. Battery, we're all interested in having our batteries last as long as they can, so we don't have to charge more than once a day. So these features are only on the iPhone 15. So if you have something older than an iPhone 15, then these will not work. So they have separated the battery health from the charging in the settings. And now they see, you can see a cycle count. So that's how many times your phone has been recharged. You can also see the manufacture date and the first use date, which of course is very handy in determining how old your phone is. And again, only on the iPhone 15, it will now be 80% capacity for up to 1,000 recycling charges. Formerly, it was said to be 500 cycles, and of course that would be the case on your older iPhone. So on an iPhone 15, you should have 80% capacity after 1,000 cycles. So they've made some tweaks to the hardware and the software to make that battery last longer. Apple Cash has some new features. One of them is virtual card numbers. So if you go to a website and you want to use your Apple Card to pay for it, you go to your Apple Wallet and get a virtual card number and use it for that particular site. So that is a nice feature. They've also upped the limit of money you can deposit in Apple Savings to $1 million. So be aware, though, that you're only insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation for up to $250,000. But your $1 million will get that new 4.5% interest rate. So that is good news if you want to park your money and get that higher rate. So Tap to Pay in your Apple Wallet now can be used with PayPal and Venmo. Of course, you would have to have a balance in those accounts, but you could go to a retail terminal, tap your iPhone or your Apple Watch, and pay from Venmo and PayPal. So that brings us to questions. If you haven't already, and I see some of you have, type in your questions in the comments section there on YouTube. And always, I'm asking you to do me a favor and share the GoFor Gazette with a person you know that has Apple devices, and you can do that by forwarding the email, the GoFor Gazette, that comes to your email box every Monday morning at 7 o'clock. And our friends at Zoom are still hard at work, so if your Zoom doesn't update automatically, go ahead and update to Zoom 5.17.11. So let's see what we have here. You guys have been busy. So, okay, so Chris is a happy Apple Music subscriber. Good to know. And Susan comments that she prefers to subscribe to YouTube versus Apple Music because you get full-length operas and concerts from all over the world. And she has yet to ask for something on YouTube without finding it. So, worth every penny. I'm sorry, Susan. You'll just have to, I guess you could get another Apple card, create 2 different accounts, and get that other million in there. So Bob is saying that Susan is welcome to put that extra million in his Apple account savings. So Bob always trying to help people out. I appreciate that. And Susan asks, are the transcripts available for non-Apple podcasts? No. I mean, it depends on your podcatcher app of choice, but as a general rule, they're not. So they have to be, you have to access your podcast in the Apple Podcast app. So like I use Overdrive, or what is it called? Not Overdrive. I use Overcast to, up until now, to listen to podcasts. However, I'm seriously considering switching to Apple Podcast app to take advantage of those transcripts, because many times I listen to it, maybe I'm in the car and I can't write something down that I want to look at, or I want to look at a website, so I can go back now in that transcription and find that information. So I think that's very handy. Apple Podcasts has come a long way. It used to be kind of awkward to use, but they've been fixing it along the last year or two, and so it is better than ever. So a little side note on iOS 17.4. In my research for this presentation, I did see some complaints online about overheating and about battery life suffering. Now, as we talked about recently, anytime you do an update, your battery life may suffer because there's a lot of one-time things that are happening in the background. So usually within a week, the battery life goes back to what you would expect. And of course, that could be tied into the overheating if there's things going on in the background that's heating up the processors. So that could be related. It does not seem to be widespread, but some people here and there. Of course, you only hear about the complaints. You don't hear about the people that are not having any problems. But be aware that probably if you're having those issues, wait a week, and they will be probably take care of themselves. And as Chris noted earlier, iOS 17.4.1 is in beta, or almost in beta. So some of those issues that we just talked about may be fixed in that. So we don't know when that's coming out, but I would guess probably in the next 2 weeks or so. So they are continuing to update iOS 17. So we'll probably see a couple more updates before iOS 18 is announced at the Worldwide Developer Conference in June. Of course, it won't be ready for prime time until, well, I guess iOS 17 really wasn't ready until, didn't go to 17.3, which is where we recommend you install it until, I think, January? So we got a while. Okay. let's see here what Susan has to say. Are transactions available for... Okay, we answered that. Speaking of transactions, that reminds me of something else that is new in Apple Wallet. It will interface with many financial programs. One of the ones that was mentioned is called Monarch, and there's a couple of others. So if you're using your Apple Card, you can now interface with financial programs. In other words, you can import your Apple Card transactions. So that's another step in the right direction. So if you think of anything else that you would like to know more about, you can call me or you email me, and that information is coming up next. So thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your week, and don't forget to get your pie on Thursday.